Thank you, Graves, and a game 1 victory for Maryville off a pretty strong performance there. But hey, they were in it. Supernova were in it, and it was off of Actor on the Kindred. A very interesting pick. Incon, is this what you were expecting when you were looking at a player like Actor and hyping him up going into the game?
Yeah, I believe I actually said Actor Kindred was something to look out for. So I was happy that Supernova picked it early. And when you see it on the 1-2 on red side, it usually means that you can get counter picks and soul lanes to get prio to enable the Kindred. So I thought their idea was really good going into the pick. And then seeing that, you know, APA would just turn his brain off in mid lane and not think about what was going on in the game at all and die to that 3-camp gank mid, you know, Supernova showed signs of light in the early game. I think that, you know, they did have a possibility to make the game interesting.
APA, we love you, buddy.
Not when you do that.
RMC, any additional thoughts from the perspective of the early game from Supernova? Because like we were saying, they were hanging in there for quite a while before Maryville was able to pry it away from them.
Yeah, I think it's not fair to APA to say that. I mean, APA's name is always plan ahead. He was looking ahead of that 3-minute mark in COD and kind of forgot a little bit about, you know, potentially the Kindred. He was looking to, what was that, 30 seconds after that when Actor came back, looped around for the regank, which, by the way, great play. That was the right play to make. APA had to push out at that point. The wave was moving out. Perfect gank position. But this time, APA had already thought ahead, called in Iconic for the backup here. Psycho roaming up as well and turned the tides. And I think, to me, that was a huge sticking point for Supernova's plan. Because I think Supernova, we had said, really strong early game team. They've got a plan, they execute it. But what happens when it derails? And that felt like the derail moment. And then Supernova was kind of on the back foot after that a little bit and felt like they lost tempo against Maryville.
Yeah, the big derail moment that Incon was talking about during the game, as we have the first replay to actually highlight this when it happened in game, was off of, unfortunately, also an Actor play, because he went for an invade with, I believe, a very important, objective in his inventory that they have put a lot of resources into.
Yeah, Supernova at this point in the game, they had rotated their bot lane all the way up to the Rift Herald. So if you play the replay right now, what you'll see is Actor goes for an invade here, and if you can, I hope it shows items. He dies here. During his respawn timer, the Rift Herald that they moved everything for actually times out. So you never see the Rift Herald placed, and Calista on that timer got an extra 2 waves bot and an extra plate. So you see a massive gold swing that is never recovered for Supernova, and it kind of just starts like, you know, it's like when Jenga, when you pull out one piece, it's like, it's kind of toppling, maybe we can save it a little bit. But as the game goes on, it just gets harder and harder, and I think RMC will lead us into the really back-breaking moment in a minute here.
Yeah, but before we get to that back-breaking moment, I just want to add for that, it felt like, you know, in Yu-Gi-Oh! When you've got like a perfect trap set up and the enemy's walking to your trap, and you're like, oh, we got this right here. And then suddenly the enemy whips out like 7 tools of the bandit, just counters your trap card. That's exactly what happened. Right?
No one's going to get that reference, RMC. Jinzo would have been a better universal reference. I think more people would have gotten that. Incon, though.
I can't think of it. You know when you're playing like League of Legends and like, I don't know. I can't think of it.
We're watching Incon's Joker moment live on broadcast. This is fantastic. All right, well,
under the stairs in the back.
He referenced it earlier, RMC. There was a back-breaking moment, so as we look at our next replay here, I don't know if you have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference for that, but you will always win brownie points with me if you find a way to sneak one in.
Yeah, I don't know if I got one for this year. I mean, for this play, this was that mid lane push that Supernova had, and it felt like a bit of a desperate play for them to kind of force this at this moment. We kind of missed the beginning of it, but Actor dived in with Ariendo on a very risky under turret play, and it doesn't pan out. And if you look at the map at what's available here, we are actually sub 20 minutes. This is just shortly, maybe about a minute and a half before Baron spawns. Dragon is up and on the table here. And when Supernova re-engage in this particular situation without Actor, without your big playmaker and the person they've been funneling gold towards, it ends up ending poorly for them. And it's not just going to end up giving a whole bunch of kills. You lose the Dragon, you lose Baron priority. And for a team that values tempo so highly, strategic macro plays so highly here, that's something Supernova can't afford at this point in time. They've lost everything. They've lost Herald, they've lost Dragon, they've lost Baron, and from there, Maryville, now that's a team that knows how to close out games.
Yeah, we call that the nail in the coffin as a reference.
Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
No, we call that life points hitting 0. I was trying to look for something there. I didn't get one.
Choke him over number 2.
There we go. There we go. We're all falling apart at this point. But, okay, we did have an interesting point because the two of you said Maryville 2-1 over Supernova. You both gave Supernova one game. But during that game one, the two of you had a conversation that I found very interesting, that you both thought if Supernova would win a game, it would be game one. They didn't do that. So, Incon, first off, why is that? Why do you think that is?
So the reason I think that is Maryville has a lot of experience playing together. They have mental gods on that team. They've been through thick and thin together as is. So it's like, if you're going to beat them, you have to take the first game off of them, catch them on like their back foot, on like a weird game with like a weird draft plan, kind of what we saw Actor do. I think, that had the possibility to win. But the issue is when a team with less experience goes down, it's harder to maintain that mental. And against a team like Maryville, they're just going to come in, they have like their foot on your throat, and they're going to come in game two and try and stomp it. Right?
Yeah, not in the fun way. RMC, any additional points to throw in?
Fun way.
I will say for Supernova though, I don't doubt their mentals. They came into this from the OQs going down to 0-2 and having to reverse sweep their way back in. I think their mentals are solid. I thought that the reason why Supernova needs to win game one is kind of because as a team they're newer, kind of a little bit what Incon was saying, Maryville has a lot of experience together, or even if not together, just a lot of experience in general. So I think Supernova needed a nice punchy start to the series here, and if they don't get that, I just worry that the Maryville machine just starts to come online, and your options, your opportunities to find those quick, in and outs for Supernova, they just start to close as the series goes on.
I would still like to give some chance to Supernova. I don't want to say it's all doom and gloom, even though we're expecting now this to look more Maryville favored. If we have to think from Supernova's perspective, their options to come back in a series like this and win this next game, this is a must-win for them. I want to get both of your thoughts here on what different avenues they can take. Incon, I'm going to give this one to you first. What do you think Supernova should be focused on going into game two?
I think going into game two, their game plan was definitely strong, right? The 3-camp gank mid to catch APA off guard, give your mid laner an advantage into a flex back wave, absolutely beautifully done. It just happens that, they make a misstep that kind of makes it null void, and then it's like, being more aware of the transition from early to mid game, right? It's something that can be reviewed. Sure. Hey, Actor, you don't need to go for this play, you can drop Herald instead. There's possibilities, they just need to transition faster.
RMC, real quick, brief thoughts.
I think game plan solid. If anything, maybe put Ariandel on something more supportive. I wasn't a fan of the Silas blind pick.
Yeah, we had been talking about things like the TF, even if it's not the best in the meta, maybe it fits the playstyle a little bit better. Let's see what their adaptation is going into game number 2, or if Maryville will give us a swift 2-0 day. We got Grapes and Rebel on the call.
Talking about the Joker moment, looking for a little vengeance here in game number 2, evening up this series, getting to that crucial game number 3 in what is always such a fabled matchup between these two teams, Rebel.
Yeah, it's always been exciting. Again, it would be nice to see a best of 3 because I've seen plenty of best of 5s. Although I think I've seen enough full game series between these two for a lifetime. So if anyone deserved to cast them, it would not be me because I've got more than enough of my fair
Or you
share.
have most of the experience, so that you're the most
that's,
qualified.
I guess I'm the most qualified to do it, I suppose. Now, on the other half of this, I just want to talk about Supernova really quick. I think Supernova, they have to find another avenue with which to play the game. If they're focusing through Actor like the way they did in the previous, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to continue the way that they have. They have to find a lane to play for. They have to find somebody who's going to be able to generate advantage on their own, because it seemed like no one was able to do so, right? It was when Actor was interacting with others and inside of fights and things like that, that they could find some grounds by which they found something against Maryville. And if they don't find that, then they get nothing. So to me, they have to find somebody who's willing to step up to the plate, bat up against their opposition, and say, we can try to take this 1-on-1, this 2-on-2, something like that, when Actor is not around. If you have that 2 parts of the map, that's fantastic.
And when I was talking to Zoo a little bit about some of the expectations going into this game and what Supernova has done to kind of improve themselves from their early exit in the first tournament, he said that, the biggest thing was that, hey, we can be a little bit more multi-dimensional this time around. We can rely on somebody other than Actor to be that main carry because, in Supernova's 2 wins throughout the group stage, those were the games that Actor really managed to pop off. But now, Zoo is saying, hey, maybe Mesla, maybe Ariandel, maybe Tomato can take that next step. Haven't seen it just yet in that last game, but we could maybe start to see some more of that. Maybe at least a multi-threat composition out of Supernova as we head into the draft.
And they did switch sides, so they obviously want counterpick for something. I don't think they had to have a particularly useful counter pick in the last game, which is something that I do want to note. That like Meslo has champions that he's like mechanically proficient on, capable of doing very good things with, and they picked Aatrox and Ornn, which isn't a bad matchup by any standard, but for a like counter pick, it feels a little wasted, right? And I'd like to see them use it a little bit better than that inside of a game like this, or at least if you're gonna do something crazy, do something crazy, like do something crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to hear.
Hey, it's Meslo. He's the Riven main. Went from top lane back to pin lane, back to top lane here. Has a whole lot in his wheelhouse that he could potentially throw out. So really excited to see if maybe we can see something a little bit different in that top side. Make sure that you are making use of this red half of the draft as we take a look at the bans coming across the board. That Bel'Veth not going to get an actor's hands in. That's the Cassiopeia that did so well for APA.
It is, making sure that's going to be taken off the board. But that was a little bit in response to everything that had come through from Supernova, right? If they find the right avenue for it, it's always going to be picked no matter what. And yes, APA is incredibly good at it. But on the other hand, like I feel like that's something they could have drafted around without having to ban it necessarily. Especially with something like this. This is really big. To me, this is both an active pick and also an Ariandel pick that can work out incredibly well. It helps interact with the rest of your map, helps out in the mid lane matchup especially. The only problem with it is that it's blind into APA, so does he have something that's willing to take into it? Does he have a champion in the pool? He has a million champions in the pool, so I'm sure he's got something ready to go. But at minimum, I think this does give Ariandel at least a bit more agency in a game like this.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just leave this flexibility up until that R5 just to make sure that they are guaranteed to have at least a match, at least one of the matchups that they so like for this Taliyah, whether it is for Actor or for Ariandel. This is a pick that does work well, I think, for both of them, and I think Ariandel maybe a little bit more because it just gets around the map and is a really good facilitator. We're going to see that Renata again for Pluto, and a little bit of a deviation this time for Maryville. We're going to see Viego for Iconic.
Yeah, instead of going for the Wukong and trying to try to play into like the Taliyah E, stunning yourself at all opportunities when you use your W, your E, whatever it is that you dash through. Instead, going for the Viego, which like it's one of Iconic's most pivotal picks. Like when he was on GGA, when he was on Golden Guardians, not so much on Golden Guardians proper, but instead Golden Guardians Academy especially, he was really big at the Viego, and this is where he was really decisive, where he was really selective about the fights he would take. But when he could farm up, he was a very good carry on this. This is a champion very specific to Iconic that worked really well for him. As on Supernova's side, we get a Xayah, which is something we get trickled through every then and again, but it's not the most popular thing right now.
Yeah, Tomato is a player that I know you know a little bit more about, Rebel, but is able to play both the super hard carry champions and maybe even something like this Xayah, which can be a little bit more supportive, a little bit more utilitarian in terms of getting a lot of crowd control, getting a lot of nice poke out there. So interesting to see kind of the flexibility that Tomato is able to provide alongside Pluto's Renata. Heading to the second ban phase, looks like mid lane is going to be the focus with Corki and Zera taking off the board.
Yeah, I like this from Supernova a lot more because if you look at what they're doing, they've got not only Renata, which was their last game, but also now you've got Rocks to deal with from Taliyah, and you've got Feathers to deal with for positioning from Ariandel, from Meslo, or from Tomato, from all these different members. And it means you have to be a lot more careful about your engage from Maryville, because if you step in but you aren't full committed to the fight, or you're not able to get your CC off, right? You throw in, the Amumu, and then you don't follow it properly, you get shredded to pieces. Not to mention, it's a lot more safety for Tomato having the Xayah. But again, it's all about the zone control you've got as this team, as they also go for the Swain. What a neat pick. That almost certainly also indicates... I would say that Actor would get the Taliyah, but I wouldn't put it behind them to put Meslo on the Swain in the top lane in the right matchup.
I mean, I was going to say that like this is normally an APA pick, but it can definitely be an Ariandel pick. Also could be someone else's pick on Supernova. Who really knows at this point? Still leaving a little bit of flexibility open at this point. I will say that Supernova definitely need a little bit more physical damage in their composition in order to probably even it out. We're going to see some more stock standard stuff on the Maryville side. It is the Niles Gnar and of course APA on that really, really scary Victor.
Yeah, he's terrifying on this pick. He's made it work inside of Proving Grounds, open qualifiers. Everywhere he gets this champion, he's just an absolute... he's cracked on it. Like, that's just the best way to put it. If he gets a couple of kills to start off the game, I seem to remember last time we were in OQs, this is exactly the champion he took to the eventual number 2 in Cincinnati, and he just demolished them for 2 games in a row on it. As you can see, you pump in your fist because you get something exciting from Meslo here.
Yeah, we wanted something a little bit more interesting than the Aatrox into the Ornn. This is definitely it. Aurelia does really well into these ranged top laners like the Kennen, like this Gnar. Gonna allow Meslo, who of course has a ton of experience on these bruisery champions, to maybe get a bit of a lane lead and try to snowball that further, adding a little bit of an extra threat, an extra window for Supernova to try to get a big lead.
Yeah, they at least have another carry, and again, it's one of these other champions that works really well when the engage starts to come in, right? Like in the previous game, they had ways to kite backwards, but they didn't have the greatest of counter engage. Their primary goal was to get engaged on so that a fight could start. This team has a lot of ways to control how a fight operates from start to finish, right? You throw the E, you have feathers, they have to really, really wary. Again, the Renata is really effective, but also fighting into Swain, fighting into Aurelia, those are really bad ideas if you're Maryville and you don't have like the perfect engagement into 5 people. So you have to be a lot more crisp if you're Zyko, if you're just like directing which direction your engage is going to go to when you're Gnar here. The one difference is they don't have 5 members throwing everything they can in one direction. Now they've got APA on the back who can do some damage, some supplemental damage from a decent distance. Iconic can kind of pick and choose and pick an entrance to the fight that suits him with the ultimate and kind of pick members off as he goes. So it's a little easier to manage that. It's not just a full, we're attacking composition.
Yeah, I think that both teams have kind of gone a little bit away from that supposed one-dimensional form that we saw in game number 1. Supernova with a couple extra carry threats. Actor not necessarily on that hard carry like the Kindred, instead on the Talia, which definitely can do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but will maybe allow for somebody like Tomato, like Meslo to really take that next step. And on the other side as well, of course, the flexibility always there, although I really still like the team fighting that Maryville will be able to provide.
Yeah, they not only provide quite a bit of team fighting, but they also have a lot of avenues that they can play this game in, right? Like they've got super scaling Victor mid if they want to play into making sure he's going to get ahead early. They can play back into Azog's Callisto, which performed extremely well last game, had like 16 kills last game, was amazing on that champion just in the one previous game ago. And Niles is on the Gnar, and Niles is actually a really good Gnar player, like surprisingly good. I know people don't really imagine him or think of him as a Gnar player historically, but his Gnar has really stepped up for this team over the last couple of months as being like this super incredible champion to add on to it. So again, it's a terrifying comp here for Maryville.
But will it be terrifying enough? You know, that's the question. Supernova looking to try to turn things around, stay alive in the upper bracket. Don't want that matchup up against DK Crew with the elimination on the line. Again, both these teams very, very close in their qualification points for Proving Grounds right now. So any win that you can get is absolutely crucial.
Now, I will say, on one hand, like it's really nice for Supernova to not fall right here and go to DK Crew. On the other hand, as somebody who is doing broadcasting, as somebody who's a viewer, you get a really exciting game between those two if that happens to be the event, because both of them are playing for their tournament. Like if you lose out as Supernova, you're right now at that point specifically, I think tied with DK Crew. If DK Crew wins any more after that, then they end up taking your spot away. That's also contingent on like everybody else who's performing inside of the tournament. But if you win as Supernova, then you are all but guaranteed to actually make it through. Probably close, at least mathematically, to be able to get it through guaranteed. And then that means that DK is kicked out and not able to make it in at Silver. So that is an exciting prospect if we actually get to that point. You know, Supernova never wants to fall to that proposition. They're not going to let Maryville go down without a fight in this series specifically. They've got plenty of tournament life left in themselves, and they currently sit at our number 10 spot for Proving Ground. So they are in right now if they can hold their ground.
Thing is, Maryville right around that spot as well, which is not necessarily something that you would expect, especially for a team that, of course, has a whole ton of pedigree, and as a team that was largely expected to finish pretty highly in the standings. Just goes to show how, hard of a group they had. Missed the playoffs last time around, the 2 finalists, being the ones that qualified for playoffs. So Maryville also potentially in that spot if they do manage to somehow lose out in this situation from here on out. But not just yet is that the case. Psycho already forcing a flash out of Pluto, and Azog going to go forward as well to match the sums. Popping the heal is Tomato to keep his support alive.
So you do have Flash on Zygo still, and you still have Heal on Azog. So you're up an entire Summoner, and the support is the one who took all the damage and had to burn the Flash, which means that Pluto is a prime target for either a gank or an additional play from Zyko if he wants to get aggressive here. We've seen him do it already in this series. I think it was last game that they threw him in basically at level 6, and he died right outside the tower, having taken too many tower shots. I'm certain that Zyko will use that Flash advantage, and that means that Pluto's got to play way further on the back foot.
And definitely not necessarily where you want to be, especially against as aggressive as a lane as you can get in this Callista Amumu. They, of course, want to just always fight with the bandage tosses, with the Rens. Looks like they're going to continue to get the push here as well. So maybe a tiny step back here for Supernova, who, with Pluto on the Renata, might have wanted to get out onto the map a little bit more, but maybe won't be able to as much.
just trading back and forth. Both mid laners, it's interesting to see because, again, we've seen what APA has been able to accomplish. I know that Ariandel is also an incredibly good Swain player, at least from what I've heard, he's an incredibly good Swain player. Not to mention, again, fighting into this team when there's a Swain on this squad has got to be a very rough prospect if you're on the side of Maryville, because, again, if you don't get this perfect engage to stick, if you're not able to land onto Ariandel, kind of disrupt the ultimate, break that one apart, and you just have to keep playing into Swain, it's not something that you really want to have to do. Oh, iconic.
Oh,
This waltzes in.
Dirty.
Ugh.
No,
I'm disgusted.
You normally see Actor going for the invades. I mean, it's a bit of a, as you say, the classic win reverse card.
Would you look at that? Actor? He's a Joker now. Especially if he gets double scuttled here, he is definitely going to be a Joker.
Man, Incon, the death segment was just too good. We're just going to keep rolling with it. Yeah, exactly. Here comes a flash forward here for Zyko. We'll get hands shaken away, but we'll still land that Feather Star. Here comes the flash forward from Tomato, has the bailout, and it will be enough to secure first blood for himself. And with the trade back, though, as Azog might have enough damage with the final spear. Picking up a double kill. It's a 2-for-1 for Maryville.
Yeah, extremely well played right there. First blood does end up going over to the side of Supernova, which is well played. But again, I told you, as soon as I saw that Zyko had the flash and the opposition did not, I was like, okay, Zyko will absolutely 100% throw his body away. He will die for Ire right here. And that's exactly what happened as he jumps in. The W perfectly used by Pluto. Pluto played that almost immaculate, like just straight up immaculately. Like the W was able to almost save the life of the one member. The Q on the immediate engage prevented Zyko from just dropping everything to start with. Notably, also Zyko held his ignite for that. I don't think he thought he needed it, or that like maybe it wouldn't be that useful, but he has it in case he wants another fight elsewhere, if he wants to re-engage on these two. So there's that to consider as well. But again, 2 kills onto Azog after last game cannot be a nice prospect to look at from Supernova's bot lane.
Yeah, definitely not. And Azog on this Kalista, I mean, got the pentakill in the last game, right? So this is maybe the start of similar situation happening. So Supernova might want to calm themselves down a little bit, put on the brakes at least towards fighting against Azog in this bottom lane. Has the Berserker Greaves, which are so impactful, as well as some extra life steal to keep himself alive in the laning phase. So really good stuff coming out from Azog as one of the newer players here on this Maryville team.
Absolutely. I mean, he came in last year filling some solid shoes. Because again, it was like Evan was around, and then you had like Nuclear was around. This was all after Value had left, and Azog has stepped in and become the starter, and for good reason. I think there's a lot of times where like people have been critical, I think, of Azog almost more so than he deserves, despite having some really, really incredible performances across a lot of the games that Maryville's been able to have. And so, especially on something like this Kalista, being able to flex like that, get the pentakill, have like a massive game, is just such a massive confidence boost, I think, not only for him, but also for people who are supporting Maryville, supporting Azog for the future, because he has been good for a long time. Like even when he was back with Chookies, he was a good ADC, but Maryville, I think, has really brought out the best in him.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably some of the best League of Legends we've seen Azog play in the career that he's had at this point. Some trading here in the top side. Zenzla still has his ulti, going to be able to maintain that positive lane state for himself with that Vamp Scepter in tow. But on the bottom side of the map, it will be Iconic, likely securing this first Mountain Dragon. So already again, Maryville getting off on the right foot when it comes to those Drake stacks.
Absolutely. And it's another game where, like, I feel like they can rely on scaling to some extent. They have Victor for late game. They have a lot of engage. They've got even, like, Viego as, like, comforting pieces. And without Supernova having an immediate avenue into the early stage of the game, we talked about them being a team that has this difficulty kind of transitioning from early to late game in a lot of circumstances. And so not getting a really significant early advantage must feel kind of painful, or must look kind of painful for them. Actor at top side, I think he's trying to help out as best as possible for Meslo to set up not even a solo kill. I think he just wants to help set up Rift Herald if he can, but...
Oh, Niles actually doing a huge chunk of damage on the backside. Meslo is forced to flash away, and Niles just going to respond right back. Counter matchup be damned. Niles getting the solo kill onto Meslo.
Meslo, I think, just ran out of jumps right there. Wasn't able to be close enough to auto-attack against Niles, and Niles was right there, ready for transformation. Okay, we're back.
Another engage here by Zyko. In comes the drag back, straight into the knock-up in onto Tomato, but Zyko again taking a big chunk of damage. He ignites, taking Pluto. Will land the final auto to secure the kill in the 2v2. Azog, with not enough spears to secure anything back, is just going to have to get away for now.
That's the second time that Zyko has been thrown underneath of that tower and died because of it, which is kind of
the flash handshake will get dodged away from. Nice fancy feet.
Yeah, well played from Zyko right there. He put on his, what are those, like silver sparky suede shoes, something like that, and was able to dodge out on like a very nice attempted engagement from
Greaves.
Pluto. Yeah, I know of that. Yeah. It's appreciate the joke, all right? You're determined to be a joker, all right? In any case, it was another over-aggressive play. We talked about this with Zyko, where he's always willing to make the play making happen, and here, against Supernova, they've got the right bot lane combination to try to counteract that. The ultimate wasn't even need from Tomato right there to actually get out of it, and that's another get-out-of-jail-free card that they have to worry about in the later stages of the game.
Supernova, they've got these scars. They have to try to break their way through to another game. Get back into this. Rift Herald again is available. Actor gonna try to go for it, and with that, Meslo will make an aggressive play towards the top side. Already popping that Vanguard's edge, but again, taking so much damage on the backside from Niles. He's gonna dash forward, land in the stun. What doesn't have the Q cooldown? The final auto will do. That's the trade right back. Effective 1-for-1, all things considered, in a very extended period of time.
Yeah, very well played, actually, from Supernova, who have found a couple of strikes back here in this little bit of mid-game, right? They get the Rift Herald, they roomed up Ariandel, are able to use the W right there to secure a kill for Meslo. That could be helpful in just a pure one-on-one. They grab this up. They actually might just immediate drop at top lane. I wouldn't be shocked about that, given that they, especially if they get Vision of Zyko and Iconic, they actually had Vision of Iconic there. There's APA who's taking the blue buff. Like, I kind of want Actor to just step up and grab that tower. I'm so surprised. Yeah, he was backing, only just now stepping back up, but he did lose a few precious seconds here. I feel like if he had just been attacking this entire time, they might have been able to full take top tower, but instead, with the wave now pushing out the wave from Meslo, it's not going to end up under tower, and it means that he's just going to have to accept a couple hundred gold here or there, not even getting the fourth plate on this one.
Yeah, misses out on that last plate. Just a couple more autos would have done it, but looks like, Meslo is probably not too unhappy about that, of course. Still managing to get that solo kill, get a whole lot of gold. Gonna go backing, maybe not completing that bork just yet, but almost at that stage. And that's another win condition that has opened up for Supernova. Meslo on the split push.
Has to have single hit. It is one auto attack and maximum for being taken right there. Azog's got the most expensive auto attack in the game, primed for that thing right now.
That's one of the situations where you just want to like run in and hit it and just kill yourself for it.
Yeah, you type worth it all so bad. Yeah, worth it all, chat. Yeah. 100%.
Well, they still have 3.5 minutes to get it. On the meantime, though, Niles gonna get attacked here by Actor, but that's the counter engage. Iconic coming in with the Heartbreaker, securing that kill.
Tragedy. That was just bad timing from Actor, right? Like, Iconic is here on the hover, making sure that Niles is going to be able to shove this wave in completely, and ends up finding himself in a position where he's just stuck between his own wall and a hard place and gets thrown into a rock. And unfortunately, Iconic's there to help punish him, man. Like, I don't even know what else to say about that situation. Actor just kind of drew the bad luck card. They must have thought that the other side of the map was going to have some timer that they were clearing down or something like that to match the timer with Azog and Zyko to force down that tower, but it was the wrong read. Unfortunately, Iconic was just ready and raring to go, and Actor gets punished for it. Not much else to say.
The puns are flowing here, Rebel. I like this. I like this from us. We should just keep it going. But
one continuous pun stream.
See, this is the point where I would have made one, but I'm not as good at this as you, I think.
I'm not good at this either. I'm not making puns. I'm stealing our desk's content because I can't come up with any of my own.
Hey, that's what they're here for, am I right?
Oh.
Here we go. Let's see if Iconic can get away from this one here. Trapped between three members. The seismic shove just barely dashed away from. The Ignite's taking Iconic at about half HP right now. Doesn't have flash, doesn't have ulti, so maybe this is the opportunity for Supernova to get the attention around this Drake. They're five stacks strong around the objective. No TP for Niles, and it looks like Maryville are gonna have to back away.
He actually just walked out of that situation.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. They still get the Drake, but yeah.
They did, yeah. I mean, it was ultimately a great play from Supernova, the fact that they were able to put everyone in the same place. Actually, they might even punish Azog. Okay, never mind.
That's the bailout coming in. Yeah, Daiko gonna get knocked up on Ariandel, who doesn't have a whole lot of mana, so actually a potential turn. An Actor not having enough rock to throw back, so...
They just, like, low-key...
It's so close, but so far every time.
They low-key mouse diffed Actor like 3 times. Just out the back of him throwing seismic shoves, or Ariandel throwing a stun, something to CC somebody. Iconic didn't get hit by it, Azog didn't get hit by it, I couldn't get hit by it. And it was such a well-played situation here from Supernova, because they put all their members in the right place. They're able to punish and over-positioning for Maryville on the bottom side. They just aren't able to connect, because if they do, I mean, they probably kill Iconic if they connect with enough, and then they pull kills on bottom side. If the same play happens, it's 3 kills of difference. It's so much. It's like 1,000 gold they just miss out on because they didn't like hit their abilities, unfortunately, or Maryville's able to dodge out.
I can imagine every time Azog jumps, he's like, nope, 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 nope. Drags in Zyko, nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna get any more kills here. Might find the hook though on the Tomato. Can he use that Feather Storm? It is enough time to flash back, but it's not enough damage, and now Ariandel is in a whole lot of trouble as well. Azog's gonna say yes this time as he picks up the double.
Yeah, easy enough. And that means that, like, all across the map they're losing. Okay. I thought he was going to pull a Dignitas and die right there. You can see him taunting the tower just to let him know who's boss, because once the next wave comes in, boy, you're in for it. But I'm just taking full compilation from Maryville across the board right now. You got, like, Chainsword on the Gnar means that this is difficult for Meslo. The healing is cut, even if it's not all that much anymore. APA is touched. Like, not been touched. He's at 154 CS at 14 minutes into this game, so he's well over 10 CS per minute and has 3 plates off mid tower for no recompense from Ariandel. Ariandel has 1 assist, which was off that W he threw after they went for the Rift Herald on the top side, and outside of that, APA has just been free scaling on this Victor in the mid lane. It's not that, like, the Cincinnati Fear matchup where he was able to get like 3 kills in the first 5 minutes and then just ended up having like a 17-kill game. But it is equally as menacing if he's able to continue on this path the way that he has been, because nobody has done anything about it. And that's not to mention, again, the Callista, 4 kills, 2 items, and a Mumu in the back pocket to throw at Supernova. I mean, that alone in its own presence is going to be difficult to deal with, let alone the rest of the stuff that's kind of barreling behind it.
Yeah, it seems like we're continuing to be at sort of an even state, but just slowly but surely the gold just probably trickling up and up and up, and all of a sudden it's 4K in favor of Maryville, even though it doesn't seem like the game has been necessarily broken open just yet. Just really good job garnering the advantage like when they can. Like this one, flash in, will still get the stun to land, and Pluto will have the bailout, but no kill to try and get the revive through. APA finally on the board for the kill, but he's been strong for a lot longer than that.
Yeah, he's getting Victor Bucks, though, which is the important bit. When he has all of his Victor Bucks and all of his items purchased, like, he just becomes so much better of a champion. And this actually might be helpful as well. They bragged 4 members up. APA is going to be here, too, for if there happens to be any sort of response. There is a TP coming in, so he might get here in time for some action.
Yeah, the re-engage, the reinforcements are here. Ariandel and Actor, and Meslo staying alive for a long time, and this could be a good turnaround. Ariandel secures first kill onto Niles. Iconic has to run away. The Heartbreaker is barely enough to keep him away. And Zyko is going to have to be really safe. He flashes. Somehow everybody on Maryville is still alive. Azog will go down, but it will be the trade back, as Ariandel will be next casualty. AP and Zyko have to run for the hill. Somehow Supernova aren't able to capitalize. It's still only a 2 for 2.
The fact that Supernova were able to make that full counter engage happen, I think, was pretty miraculous, given that they had been down basically the entire game. They were down 4K walking into that situation, but it shows that Maryville still has room to grow, right? Like, Azog picked up 2 more kills and went down in that fight, but it feels like if APA were on 1 more item, had pen boots, something like that, might have made a big enough difference. A second item for Iconic might have made a massive difference in a fight like that. As they're going to pick up Rift Herald, the reinforcements are here. APA is not
They're
going
not
to
going to get the eye. Yeah, Zyko with the blast cone into the ulti. That's the nice combo that you can see right there. Will be the kill back, though. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive coming out from Maryville. Zyko and Iconic both will fall, but APA has the TP, and he is so strong. A double kill in onto the Victor, and it looks like Tomato will live to tell the tale of how APA dominated that fight.
You remember how I said that APA didn't have 3 kills? Don't look at the scoreline. It doesn't matter anymore. He's on second full completed item, goes Cosmic Drive just for some additional poking ability when he has to play out in a team fight like that. I don't know that it's the perfect item for the situation, but what I do know is that the Victor is now online, right? Like 3 kills, 186 CS. He's got all the Victor upgrades. He's got everything he needs to be an absolute pain of a champion for Supernova to deal with. You can see Meslo's feeling the effects of it right now.
Tanking so much, just not enough durability to survive through the stun. Another kill going into APA. 4-0 and 1 now. We're just gonna keep counting here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's looking really good.
Yeah, it's a pretty horrible place to be. That's not even counting the Darkseal. Now Magi stacks that he has too. So now we have to count up to 9. And I don't think my brain goes that high, unfortunately. So I'm gonna leave that to you when the time counts.
Well, thankfully for you, he sold the Magi's, only got the swiftest boost, so don't have to count higher than 10 just yet.
Boo, coward. go back and buy him. he's
Gotta go
up
fast,
and,
man.
He really does have to go fast. He like Cosmic Drive and Suki. He really trying to be schmoovin' in this game.
Yeah.
He might be terrified of Ariandel, that if he gets too close and Ariandel's able to catch him with an NECC, he's just locked in place with the Rylai's the entirety of the game, which could be problematic, but like, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. Oh, actually, nice predict from Actor.
Yeah, nice little chunk here. Niles still going to be able to survive. It seems like Supernova are making all the right plays, but Maryville just don't die from the engages that they go for.
Yeah, I mean, there's gold in all the right places for Maryville. That is one thing to note, that like in a team fight situation, if you bring down the damage, it is going to be gone. It's like you said, yeah, big flank coming out, APA's all the way around the back.
I thought it was just iconic. His APA as well. Ariandel chunked in the front line, down to about half HP, but has the ulti proc, stun onto APA, but he just bursts through the back line. Finally, shutdown goes through as Ariandel gets 950 gold. Meslo has arrived to the fight. Ariandel gets the bailout, but it's not enough to gnar into the wall. Will stun down the Aurelia. It's a 4 for 2. Maryville around the Baron pit, but they can't get it because it hasn't even spawned just yet.
It feels like Supernova is like tangibly close to winning out fights every single time they're there, but they just cannot wrap it up the way that they wanted to. They can't find the right moments where like they can actually break into this big, destructive force that Supernova could bring to actually turn the game around on its head. Instead, they just trickle over kills, trickle over resources. They pull a couple back in their, for themselves, but they're still down 5k in this game. They're still down a dragon in this game. Yes, it's not quite the kill shot, I think, of the Mountain Soul from the previous game. The Cloud Soul is going to make an absurd amount of difference for APA, who's going to be absolutely zooming around this place. But outside of that, I mean, like Supernova, they just haven't been able to put together a fight that works, which is the thing that's really concerning me, is that, they have enough team fight to work with that they shouldn't be this hard, and yet somehow they're just not finding wins. In fairness, they're down a significant amount of gold at the AD position. Their mid laner isn't really building a bunch of damage, and so they're missing a fair amount of that should be made up for by Meslo and by Actor, but again, they really didn't have the greatest of early games either.
Yeah, not really a whole lot of main carry threat just yet, but another fight has erupted. 2-man stun, but Niles chunked out pretty low. Pluto chunked to about half HP, hits the bailout, will be able to survive as Ariandel will secure the kill, and he is so beefy up in this front line. The seismic shove lands in onto Azog, and he might be in a bad spot as well. Popping the shield ball already, the rock barely misses out. There comes the never move, and Meslo will barely not be able to dash forward just yet. The W will miss as well, and Azog survives. Finally,
he's still alive.
He will maybe go down to the likes of Actor, but look at the amount of damage that APA was able to do on the backside. A triple kill for him. Actor on the wrong side of the map will have to run away as Maryville yet again find another fight.
That's not good. Okay, that's just the dead Actor. Iconic ends up pulling the kill. It's another fight that Supernova. It looks like they can start off pretty decently,
close.
and they just they almost kill Azog on the front end of it. He lives for way too long comparatively, right? He almost kill off Niles fast enough. He's able to get just enough done on the front end of the fight for it to actually matter pretty significantly. And the problem is you're still letting these carries go wild. In fact, APA picked up 3 kills over the course of that fight. He's up to a 23 stack Magi's. This doesn't get better for you. This just gets worse as the victor gets stronger and stronger. You're not shutting out the one person that needs to be there.
Aw.
Really?
That's a nice quote. I feel like this would be Azog writing this. Am I wrong?
Yeah, this feels like an Azog quote more than an APA. I'm pretty sure his quote is ratio for most of the questions.
Yeah,
so.
this is one of the few non-questions that he didn't respond with ratio.
It's either ratio or it's misspelled somehow. Those are the two options. We gotta knock down the ego a little bit. He's up 9 kills in this game, so.
Oh, we can keep building it up. Looks like he's ratioing Supernova a little bit. Not just yet. I mean, the ratio would be if he had more kills than the entire team. That's not at that spot now. Might happen in a little bit. Who knows? Baron's going to get started up. Flash in for Actor. Nearly got the secure. And it looks like he will likely go down. APA now to Rampage. Getting a little bit closer to that number.
Yep, he only needs 2 more. If he gets 2 more, then he ratios the whole team, and that's a problem. But until then, again, Maryville just put themselves in such a great winning position here. Again, we talked about how important a series is like this, or not just this, but like a game like this. But the important part to them, I think, it doesn't matter how this series goes, how the next series goes, whether they win this entire thing. I think they want to go to Proving Grounds. They want to make sure that people respect them as a team, as a potential contender to be one of the top teams at Proving Grounds. It was something that they missed out on last time pretty substantially because they came in and they didn't quite have the performances they wanted. They had to upset 100 Thieves just to make enough points to even qualify for the event last time. And this time they don't want to have that option. They don't want to have to make this miraculous run from the top 10. So APA really closing in on that. 1 more kill and he is there. He has the Rabadon stun too, but...
Is it a ratio if you have the same amount of something as the other person?
Is 1-to-1 a ratio?
I mean, I guess like 1 to 2 is also a ratio, but that doesn't count, right?
2-to-1 is also a ratio.
Yeah,
so if you're
so-
half the kills. Okay, so everybody's ratioed each other in this game. Is that what
Yeah,
you're telling me?
I mean, that's kind of the logic.
We
that
need
we're
to stop. It's going to turn into banger, and we're not going to be allowed to use it. We're going to get canceled
Oh,
for using
that is
ratio
true.
too many times. So yeah, we're going to stop using that term now.
Well, we'll use it once. Once APA might, if he gets there. By the way, he backed after getting the Baron, picked up a full death cap, I think, just straight up. So if he wasn't strong before, he's just a little bit stronger.
There's
now.
also the only magic resist on that team. Also, is the locket on Renata, which means that like if the shield doesn't go up, oh, I guess Mertreads. My bad. I missed all the Mertreads. Somebody always has to buy Mertreads and ruin that for me. But yeah, very little magic resist. That means that like you are getting blown up if you're anybody on the team.
A little bit of desperation. Seismic shove will get flashed away from Pluto. Dies on the
There it
backside
is.
of the Chaos Storm. That's it. It's 1-to-1. Well, one more, and then we'll say the magic word.
That's 12. He got to. Oh, I guess
Nah,
okay.
you
We'll
need
wait for
more.
one more.
You need
That's
more.
that's fine. That's fine. He's backing. Okay, he's just going full speed now because he's going for the Lich Bangs. He's gonna have, like he's actually gonna be one of the fastest like ambient champions. He might match Misfortune speed with full boots on. Like that's kind of insane for a mage like that.
Hook coming in. Neslo has to flash away. Looking like the door is closing rather quickly here for Supernova. Didn't really get the Joker moment that they wanted in this series. We'll have to wait for a little bit more revenge against
Wait for
potentially
DK.
DK Crew. Yeah, unless the series continues to go, but it's not looking like that right now. APA is level 16. He is kind of just BMing a little bit with the movement here to make sure that his team is able to get that turret. Man, Maryville look really, really good right now, Rebel.
Yeah, they do. They're looking really incredible. Being able to like kind of deal with a team like Supernova this dominantly, right? Like it isn't the most disgusting win in the world. They're not up like 30 kills. It's not a 15-minute victory, but they're still doing so well into a team that is incredibly good. Oh
Maybe
wow!
desperation here. Azog gets flashed on with the exhaust, but it's not enough damage. There comes the hook back in. Neslo gets a kill onto Zyko, but it is just that 1-for-1. Active is so low. We get APA with 1. APA will get 2. We finally have it. The ratio of the kills. APA 14, Supernova 13. And it might be a little bit more as the inhibitors are going to start to get broken open. A numbers advantage for Maryville University as they'll try to get the 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, I think it's easy enough to, accomplish it here. Supernova has been this kind of, like, to me, they've been, like, this epitome of, like, if you can beat this team, this is the team you need to beat to get into proving grounds. And they've continued that trend over the last little while, and this continues now, where it's like Maryville is going to beat them, but they are right on the precipice. Again, they are the 10th rated team. We're closing things out with just a couple of kills here at the end of the game. It's going to be a Maryville 2-0 almost certainly here. Maybe not within the next couple of seconds, but definitely by the end of this one.
Eventually
we're going to be calling
we'll get
Maryville
there,
to win. Yeah.
Almost had that third inhibitor taken down, but now, Supernova, they're going to look for something with Azog chunked pretty low, has to flash away. But I don't know if the rest of the chase is there.
Oh
Oh,
my
no,
goodness, okay.
Pluto
No.
just gets chunked so hard. Thankfully for him, the Chaos Storm does not move faster than the champions, but man, just not enough again for Supernova.
We're going back to a replay from earlier. This is just that like play around attempt, and this was such a. Again, this isn't even bad from Supernova, right? Because like Supernova, Ariandel pops this, flashes into the backline. So many people are kind of locked up. Zyko's stuck in a really bad position. He doesn't go down at all until multiple members are there. The problem is, again, there's just so much behind Azog and APA to win with that you need the whole team to be engaged on. Like, like being uneven in this game does not bode well for the side of Supernova because they're the ones that are like catching, right? Like if Maryville is throwing the engage, then like it's going to be Supernova that have to make the catch happen. And unfortunately, it's just going right through their hands, hitting them in the chest. It's just not going to work.
All right, Meslo. This is the outplay moment. This is the montage of our ultimate misses in the 1v3. He will get chunked really low. Man, it's not fair once APA shows up.
Yeah, that was a 2v1, and you just destroyed the honorable 2v1. That's not
Oh,
okay.
Actor run, please. He's alive for now. Chaos Storm still burning everybody down at this point. The Feather Call doesn't do too much. Third and hit finally broken open. Here comes Maryville. Maybe a final push here. Gets the sweep down. Psycho a little bit low. Oh man. Okay, Weaver's Wall gonna come out. Maybe last ditch effort here for Supernova. They do get the kill onto Zyko. So now it's a 4v4. Iconic bursts down the slide of Ariandel. APA now legendary again. And now Pluto is going to go down. Berserk does only a little bit as, chasing Iconic away to make sure APA gets the kill. A nice little root coming out from Tomato, but there's just not enough damage. A triple kill in for APA.
Penta?
We get 2 pentas in this game in this series. One for Azog, one for APA. Don't know if
Will
Super
they
is going to
dive
let
for
them
it?
have it.
Will they dive for it? That is the question.
The HP
Okay.
of ours are low. Chaos Storm somehow up again here for APA. That's what all that cosmic,
Yeah,
that's what the
million
Cosmic
cooldown,
Drive
yeah.
does for you, I guess. Meslo gonna try to go for a last ditch effort. Azog popping the stopwatch, making sure that he ends up trying to survive for as long as he can. But it is 2 kills into the hands of Supernova. Nexus is exposed. I think Maryville's playing with their food a little bit here, Rebel. It will be the clean sweep as Supernova will be sent down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, really, really well played, I think, across the board from the side of Maryville. Again, for the quality of team that Supernova is to be able to accomplish that kind of thing is really astonishing that they were able to do that type of work into that team. Supernova is not a pushover by any standard, and so for Maryville to have that type of a statement win is really cool.
And I want to give credit to their macro as a whole in the early game, but specifically towards Iconic. We were coming in really hyping up Actor and how he is able to be so aggressive in the jungle and really go for all these invades, but didn't have the most explosive series in these 2 games. It was Iconic and the rest of Maryville that were able to have really good responses for the timers that Actor wanted to go for, and that meant that Maryville were able to pull away with the sweep after taking away one of Supernova's best states, which is the early game.
Yeah, I mean, Supernova came out with, like, I believe to be what was an intended game plan of having Actor be this, like, damage facilitator for his lanes. It just felt like they understood that Iconic wasn't somebody that they were willing to attack, because Iconic would be willing to play very defensive. And so when they went attacking for their lanes, they couldn't find somebody to break completely, right? Like, game 1, they tried APA. APA happened once and then never happened again. And after that, it was like game 2, it felt like they were just completely scattered. Like, Actor didn't really have all that much impact. And that it was Maryville controlled even from the early minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's the best part. If Maryville get the lead, they're able to kind of turn it into that victory. And it looks like they were able to do it twice in a row. That's all you need to move yourselves up with the date with EG Prodigies. That's going to be a series y'all are going to want to watch. But that's it for us at the Caster Desk, Rebel. Thank you very much for covering these games alongside me. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Kangas will be talking to Azog about the win.
Hello, everybody. I am here with the victorious bot laner from the side of Maryville University, Azog. Congratulations on the victory and a pentakill to boot in game number 1. And I want to start there with this interview. What's it feel like in the moment when you're on stage, you get to be on the LCS Academy stream and pick up a pentakill? What's that feel like as a player?
I'd say it feels pretty good to get a penta on the Academy stream, but it's not like too big of a deal. It's more of we were all kind of there just doing our jobs and the penta just kind of came,
It was almost your second, because you kind of had an angle on one earlier on. When you're in moments like that as a player, are you the kind of guy that's like, team, give it to me? Or are you just focused and looking for the win? Which style do you lean towards?
Definitely looking for the win. I viewed the second one more as I stole APA's penta because he had a huge Cassiopeia ulti and he kind of deserved it, but it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of the if I can't have it, then you can't either, right?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the 2-0 regardless. Speaking of APA, there was actually something that you wanted to hype up because I believe there's a certain record that was just broken today.
Yeah, he broke the single kill record for a game. I think it was held at 18 by a whole bunch of different players, and he got 19 at the end. So, nice little
That
reward
is
for him.
sick. Now, I hadn't heard of this record. Was this for just all proving grounds for summer split so far?
I think it's just overall proving grounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible. All right, congrats to APA right there. And also Azog, great teammate, giving some props to the rest of the team. You got a pretty big match coming up next year as you advance through the bracket. You have EGP as your next opponents. So I want to get your thoughts on the strength of Maryville, where you think you are right now compared to the rest of the field, and then specifically how you think you match up against EGP, who are looking like a really tough opponent.
I think overall, I'd put us at top 2 on a good day. I think we're the best in amateur. I think if we can consistently play at our best, we should be able to clean sweep the tournament. But I think for a match with EGP, I think if we do everything correct on our side, it should be a clean 2-0.
Okay, 2-0. I love that kind of confidence, Azog. Now, I've noticed on your name, also on the questionnaire that you did fill out, so thank you for filling that out.
Of course.
You're named after a character from The Hobbit. You said your favorite movie is The Hobbit. You said if you could go anywhere in the world, you'd go to New Zealand. This is all adding up to you being a big Token nerd, so I'm very excited about this one. Because my next question for you, who would win in a one-on-one fight? An Ent? One of the tree Ents? Or a cave troll? Who wins? Straight up 1v1.
Treant.
You go tree Ent!
Yeah.
Okay, how do they do it?
I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. Just
All
brute
right.
force. I don't know.
Brute force. I feel like cave. I've been torn on this. I was always cave troll as a kid, but as I grew up, I realized how thick tree trunks are, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like the Ent might have it. Plus, there's no more Ent wives, so they got a lot of aggression to get out. I'm sure. Azog, any final thoughts or shout outs to any of the players out there?
Shout out to my teammates, my girlfriend, and my family. They support me a lot and make sure that I'm always motivated for what I do every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck getting prepared for EGP.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll bring back on the desk right now RMC Inc. Can either of you Token nerds?
I believe it's Tolkien, by the way.
That answers that question.
Well, I'll just peace out and kind of enjoy doing the closing statements.
Yeah, thank you. I think I can host here.
Well, I guess
It's
that
okay.
answers that question, essentially. Either way, great to hear from Azog. RMC, it sounds like he might have accidentally stolen a Penta in there. Are you reporting him if he's on your team?
No, man. You take that win. You don't question the Penta.
I actually had a quick question. Did you and Azog purposely wear the same glasses?
Oh, yeah.
No, I did notice that, and I did bring it up. I should have. But that
You
was
two were
quite funny.
twinning. It was so cute.
The best part is, I think I have your glasses too. Kind of. No, not quite. No, these
No,
are just
mine-
like bigger
mine have a
versions of the
double
ones
bar.
that I have on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have like the second bar across the top. Regardless. That was a fun day of games. Let's real quick wrap up that last series that we saw because it was a 2-0 for Maryville. The two of you did say if it was a 2-1, Supernova would have won game number 1. Well, hey, we all know what happened at the end of it. So I want your final thoughts, Incon. Let's start with you on Maryville as a team going up against EGP, and then also closing thoughts on Supernova.
Yeah, I think I'll actually start with Supernova.
Sure.
Just because I'm most prepared to give comments on that, so I apologize.
No, go for it.
I think in that game we saw their comp almost come online at points. It was just they were at such a goal deficit that they were unfortunately unable to play. But I think against like on a more even standing, they have the ability to win that game or at least fight better. So I think going to the next round, they should keep their heads held high. They obviously played a great team as well. For Maryville, obviously a 2-0 victory is great for morale. Going into their next series against EGP, I think EGP had a very good game before. I think Maryville also had a great game before, so it'll be a very fun matchup to watch. And I think we'll have to see, if they pull out any different forms, right? EGP played one style, they played it very well. Will they be able to play that same style, or will they be put on the back foot? That's what we'll have to see. That's what viewers have to tune in next time.
These were the two teams that everybody was looking at as soon as we saw this was the group for Group D, I believe. But now RMC, again, same question. Thoughts on Maryville and their victory going up against EGP next, and then also thoughts on Supernova as they will move into the lower bracket.
For sure. I still have a lot of questions about EGP after their game. I don't feel like they were pressed too hard, and their draft just makes it so hard to get a good read when you get the Exodia draft like that. It really doesn't give us a good look at how EGP look. But they did look very good. Whereas Maryville, on the other hand, I'm terrified, Kankas. That series, I expected 2-0 if Supernova couldn't win the first game, but not like that. Not that game 2. Maryville is just so clean, and it feels like if they get a chance to prepare for you, they just strangle you out. And so right now, I'm worried for EGP. I'm hoping, after this, that both teams get some time to prepare for that next week, for that next matchup. And like Incon said, should be an absolute banger. Supernova, on the other hand, game 2 was really, really rough for them. And I want to give huge props to Maryville for identifying, how Supernova played. And I think Supernova looked worse than they actually are in game 2 because Maryville attacked them so early. Right at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, they started invading Actor. And it felt like from there, Maryville just never stopped. And so because of that, Supernova just didn't get the foundation. Like Incon said, huge props to them for even almost making a comeback or a team fight win come the mid game, because with the deficit they had, with the way the game had gone to that point, the fact that Ariandel just would not die and gave their team a chance to come back in, that speaks volumes for the individual skill that these players have.
And I will say shout out to Actor as a player that I had not seen going into the day. Incon, you were saying this is kind of a player that you should keep your eyes on. And I would say that for a very young jungler, it's a role that's really hard to super stand out in when you have these kinds of tough series against much more experienced players. But overall, I was pretty happy with Actor's performance for my first look at him.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I've always said there's two roles in the game that I believe you play better if you didn't start out playing that role, and that's support and jungle. If you are just a sole jungler or just a sole support, you're missing a lot of the macro knowledge that you get from playing the actual lane out, understanding things on the big scale. So when you have a new jungler who's young and didn't play another role beforehand, you have such a large learning curve that, as a jungler, it takes time to get used to it, and I think, unfortunately, we didn't see the team scale in game. I think you'll see the players scale over the next seasons.
And hey, they got time. I mean, this is
Yeah.
Proving Grounds. There's a reason. This is the path to LCS. It's not make or break off of one series. So we'll keep our eyes on some of these players. But now I want to avert our eyes from the players and bring our eyes back to the broadcast talent, where the real show is, and everybody knows it, because I have a 100% success rate, 100% prediction rate so far. I said 2-0s. It was 2-0s across the board, but let's remind everybody what the rest of the casters said for their predictions going into the day. Maryville was correct. EGP, close to correct for everybody except for Travesty and Twitter. And I actually didn't catch what was going on the other stream. Do the two of you have any updates for that one?
Cincinnati Fear took the series against AoE Randoms in a close game
Nice.
3, and then the Ginger Turmeric game ended. I don't know who won, but it seemed like Ginger Turmeric AoE was in good standing there. For game
Well,
1.
there we go for Ginger Turmeric, and that was where a lot of people were predicting. I would throw in CLG just because I do, in fact, have a CLG out from your jersey still hanging on my wall currently. But that's again the extent of my analysis of these teams so far. Let's remind everybody of the desk predictions too, though, because I think we were all correct at least, right? You both had Maryville, and you both had EG. No, RBM had DK. I forgot that
Yes.
RBM was on at the beginning of the day. So
Well, that's why he's not on anymore, right?
yeah.
Get a prediction
True.
wrong, you're off.
We have to get rid of it for the better analyst. Incon, congratulations. You're up in the guest analyst prediction rank.
Nah, Payton's a homie. I can't do that to him. I'm sure something happened. The PayPal didn't go through in time or something. So.
Or the PayPal did go through.
Well, let's remind everybody when the next time they can catch action is, because next Monday is when the next games will be played. Still 3 p.m. Pacific time is when they start. Same place you can find here on the Academy channel. Actually, I don't offhand know the secondary channel. Is it still Path to LCS that runs the secondary stream?
Yep. Path to
Perfect.
LCS.
Path to LCS, I'm hearing
It's
from
also
production.
live right now and will probably be rated after. Encourage you to watch the rest of that series.
Absolutely, and we'll be watching the rest of the upper brackets play out from there. Special thank you to everybody that helps make this stream happen. We cannot do this alone. We have to give thanks to Atlantic, HyperX, Zowie for helping us put on this entire show. And also on top of those that help us put it on from the sponsor side, special thank you to everybody in production who keeps the gears rolling. Thank you to my lovely analyst, Incon in particular. Where can people find you? Let's gas you up a little bit. You did great on the show today.
Yeah, so my Twitter is inconlol. Please only follow if you're older than 18. But I really just want to spend this time to shout out the MSU boys, Joe, Peyton, Parker, Kevin, Akash, and Leona, and then our honorary MSU member in LA, Richie. Dope people, love having you all around, and thank you for making the past month fun.
All right, RMC, you've been on the desk all day, so while I do a quick wardrobe change with Incon here, where can people find you if they're interested?
Well, you can find me casting things around or on Twitter. I'm on @randommcaster here. Yeah, hopefully you'll continue to see me on the Academy channel. I believe I'll be on next week as well. And have I bought enough time, Kangas?
You bought enough
I believe you
time.
did.
Boom. Can everybody see this? Can everybody see this? This is the funniest thing. Look at this. Who wore it better? Who wore it better, Rebel? Come at me. Let's go. All right. There we go. I just had to flex real quick on Rebel right there. He looks great, though. I love the tank top look.
Are we doing the double flex though?
Oh, let's do it. Okay. Are we ready? This is how we're going to close out the show. Incon had this idea. Make sure to tune in on Monday, 3 p.m. You know the channel, twitch.tv/academy and Path to LCS for more Proving Grounds action as you check out the upper bracket. Incon, let's close it out, baby.
Huge.